morning and welcome to another beautiful episode of your newspaper review on Ida Television. I am Jacob Deborah and I'm not alone in the house. I am with one of our finest, Mrs. The latest Mrs. By the way, how are you doing, ma'am?
Deborah, I'm fine. Good morning, and I am John Mary.
You know, I'm putting respect in your name. Now that you're the latest, you're not more in me, so I have to put respect in that name. Okay, now we'll be diving into our newspapers for today. Welcome to all our viewers once again. The first newspaper I'll be looking at is the Daily Trust newspaper front page, where we see that how battery recyclers are poisoning Nigerians. We also see that the federal government introduced Steve Nupe degree program. Beside it, we also see that at $46.7 billion, foreign reserve hit 7 years high. And we also see the big headline that KB adoption, how bandits attacked our school students, comes out to say in page 4 and 6 of that newspaper, where we can see some of the students or pictures on that particular front page. We also see beneath the picture that PDP to Turaki Wike camp clash at Secretariat in page 16 and 17 on that newspaper. And in page 12 of that same newspaper, we see that health workers strike paralyzes hospitals. We also see beside it in page 37 that 44 lawmakers write Tinubu 6 Kano release. We also see in page 5 of that newspaper that why I applied for immigration job. Visually impaired man comes out to actually make his statement of the reason why he had applied for the immigration job. Now looking into some of the headlines, we see in Ojigo, a community on the border of Lagos and Ogun states. Many residents have discovered dangerously high levels of lead in their blood. Poisoning is linked to smoke dust from nearby factories that recycled used batteries. Families gathered and local health centers to collect their test results, and many, including young children, were found to have lead levels far above the safe limit set by the World Health Organization. We see that scientists has tests on the soil dust, and workers has also showed extreme contamination, with some of the areas leading and recording levels many times higher than the internationally safe standard. Residents described the consent of smoke, breathing problems, stomach pain, and other health issues caused by this particular pollution from the recycling batteries components. We also see that this particular situation in Ojigo shows how unsafe industrial practice can harm the entire community and put lives at risk. The heavy pollution is damaging the health of children and adults, weakening their ability to learn, work, and live their normal lives. Families are spending large amounts of money on medical care due to this. We pray that, or we hope to see that the government actually comes to work on this particular issue that has happened. What do you think about it?
Yeah, actually, just like you said, Deborah, we're actually looking forward to the government actually coming to work on this particular issue on ground. You know, we always look forward to things being solved, especially when it is brought out to the public. We always want a quick solution. As Nigerians, we do not have plenty of patience to keep waiting without seeing a quick result.
Especially if there's, will I say, a solution that can, or a way that this whole thing can be solved, because we face a lot of land pollution, apart from the land disasters that we have that can be, will I say, contained. But one of these is this particular issue of the air pollution from the battery recycling factories.
Okay.
And if you look at it, I think the same issue was mentioned. I want to try and remember the particular state in one period of time where this particular issue was still mentioned and it was affecting the health of people. To see that there's a repetition of this just shows that we've not learned our lessons from the past issues that actually happened. But anyway, we'll be diving into the next newspaper front page, the Nation newspaper front page, where we see that foreign reserve 7-year high at $46.7 billion. We also see that GHL versus APCON, contempt in face of court from 49 committal proceedings comments. We also see on that page that adopted pupils, President sent Shetima to KB State. Its assaults on education, says First Lady. And we also see that COAS to troops set up rescue efforts. We also see beside that can Christian targeted killings claim 40 sans vice chancellor as well as others disagree to the particular statement. And the big headline in page 26, fraction in Finance battle to control PDP headquarters. Beneath it, we see that police fire target Wike had back Anyanwu Group Makinde Bala on the ground of Taraki camp. Anyanwu camp suspend 3 governors as well as others on that particular front page. And if you look at page 2, why I parted ways with Wike, Makinde comes out to say his claim. And if you look at the red icon, we see 44 House of Reps members ask President to order Nnamdi Kalu's release in page 3 of that newspaper. Now moving into one of the headlines, we see that Nigeria is taking a major step to protect its indigenous language as the National University Commission (NUC) begins process introducing full bachelor's degree program for TIV and NUPE led by the NUC Executive Secretary Professor Abdullahi Rabadu. Experts from universities have been meeting to develop official curriculum for these new courses. Until now, TIV and NUPE were mostly taught as elective subjects, but they will now be full academia programs to train students in linguistic, literature, and culture. The move is meant to preserve these languages and prevent them from dying out, especially as many Nigerian over 500 local languages faces the threat of extinction. This is this particular reason of them bringing out this will I say policy is actually good and worthy, because we've been saying it that we want to come into a state where our African languages can be preserved, not beyond Nigeria, beyond Africa itself, but also to others. Just as the way we've been able to learn the white man language, they should be able to come to Nigeria and also find interest in our language. Now we had one of the news that AI is trying to integrate Nigerian or African languages, taking Nigeria as one of the point of contact to actually learn some of these languages so that they can be able to respond. So you can meet AI and tell AI that I want this in Igbo language fully,
and they will bring
in Igbo language fully. And this kind of integration, like I said, it just shows that we have hope, or we see hope in the future for African languages and Nigerian languages, because of course we're Nigerian.
Of course. And this brings us to actually we individuals need to put interest in learning our languages, and I believe that they are doing pretty well to actually add it to the curriculum, because most of our youth these days, we do not learn our languages. We just feel that we should just learn the white man's culture, and we've embraced it so much that we are forgetting where we're coming from. So even if it's something that is going to be added technologically, we still need to embrace it very well, starting from schools, starting from homes. Most of our homes, sometimes they don't even speak these languages to us. You can imagine, we just all about the white man. Everybody wants to be that be that elite person. So we should embrace it wholeheartedly and try to master it, so that even when we have other people from other countries coming over here to our country, we can actually put them through. It's not something that you just bring out and maybe somebody is asking you, okay, what does this mean? And it's your language, you cannot defend it, doesn't actually make sense. So I feel it's very important that it's actually been added into school, so that people can actually, embrace their languages. And,
I like so much what some governmental bodies are doing about this language barrier of a thing, and inability to understand your language. I'm part of the people who are actually do not really, and it's not like I said, you mentioned it, most of our parents do not speak these languages to us anymore at home. And you can't just expect the child to grow up with what he or she is not taught on.
Of course.
And I think there was a period of time I had a friend who went to I think visit Gospel Apabu. Then he was I think former governor of that of the state, and when he was still governor, and he was trying to mention people he wanted to take. That's his secretary came out to mention people that they wanted to take for a particular job. And the first question they asked was, does your name have your tribe, does your name format has a tribal name attached to it? That was the first thing. Then secondly, he came and spoke language. The way he spoke the language, the way he asked the question was, if you know that your name is part you have a language name attached to your name, stand up and follow me. He said it in the language. And
Okay.
my friend was seated down there and quiet. She saw
Imagine.
people standing up, wondering what happened.
Imagine.
Few people standing up. People were seated because, of course, they were not hearing their languages. This
Okay.
just shows that it doesn't just fall on the burden of the children
Of
themselves,
course.
also on the parents
Parents.
and the government. If
And the
there's a way
government,
that we
yes.
can help sustain our languages, our
Exactly.
culture,
Exactly.
it will actually help and go a long way.
It will actually go
Now,
a long way.
on another headline on that same front paper, we see that a serious legal dispute has escalated between General Hydrobonds Limited (GHL) and the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria (APCON). GHL claims that APCON disobeyed an earlier court order that blocked many action against the company and still went ahead to get a new ex parte order from other judges without telling the court about existing orders. GHL also says that APCON misled the court by claiming it had acquired an eligible bank asset from First Bank, even though the agency only made a partial payment and never completed the purchase. Because of this allegation, the court has issued a contempt notice against 8 APCON officials and lawyers, as well as Justice, who has ordered that have whose order has been sent through email, WhatsApp, office delivery, and via publications on national newspaper. The court will now decide whether the officials' action amount to contempt and which could lead to penalties, including possible jail time. Now, in another headline, which is the big headline on that particular newspaper front page, there's a heavy tension in PDP national headquarters in Abuja as two rival factions in a party clash over who truly controls the party leadership. On one group led by National Chairman Kabiru Timanu Tukuri, who was recently elected by the party convention in Ibadan, tried to hold the first meeting at the secretariat, but another faction led by the acting national chairman Abdurrahman Mohammed and backed by Unsom Wiki and other expelled members also arrived on their own NEC and BOT meeting. Police fired tear gas to disperse supporters as both sides attempted to take over the same building. Wow.
Amazing.
We've been seeing a lot of this tension going on in the PDP house, and we really do not. We stand to ask. We stand to ask where they stand. You know, with the fact that
Exactly.
2027 election is coming close, and you've
Now
not
we're
been able
beginning
to
to
put the
feel
fire.
the heat. We're beginning to feel the heat.
Not even externally, but internally in your own house.
Yeah.
And we want to know what would actually result from this particular news. Now moving to another newspaper front page, the Tribune newspaper front page. We see that the Nigerian Tribune newspaper has a headline: KB school children in page 4, adoption. How husband was killed, wife of Slan VP comes out to say UNICEF First Lady condemns the attack and demands students release. We also see beside it that again ASU accuses federal government of non-readiness to meet demand in page 21, threatens fresh nationwide strike. And if you look beneath the icon of the Nigerian Tribune, we see that Christian facing genocide in the North Nigerian Middle Belt can breaks out silence in page 4. And we also see invoke your constitutional power for immediate release of Nnamdi Kalu. 44 reps write to Tinubu in page 13 of that newspaper. And the big headline: PDP day of tear gas chaos. Makinde, Bala Mohammed, Wike Anyanwu, others clash over Wadata Plaza. Day in about to break for the new PDP and for our democracy, Makinde comes out to say. Enough is enough. PDP does not belong to one person, Bala says. Now in another headline, we see that technology has ended the era of voters impersonation. INEC chairman comes out to make that claim in page 2 of that newspaper. And in page 5, CBN comes out to say that airborne insurance boosts Nigerians' foreign reserve to $46.7 billion. And if you look beneath the headline in health, owning cats could double one's risk of screenwriter Thimai, the study has come out to say in that particular newspaper. Now looking into some of the newspaper front page headline, we see that the Academics Staff Union of University, ASU, has criticized the federal government of failing to make progress in talk aimed at preventing another strike in the public universities. ASU President Professor Christopher said that despite giving the government 1 month ultimatum to To be able to solve this key issue, nothing meaningful have been able to be achieved. In a comment issued by the NEC meeting Taraba State, the union accused the government of taking a back and forth approach and treating education like commercial product instead of national investment. Also rejected the proposed salary increase and described it as too small to stop the ongoing brain drain in universities. The union also accused some of the government officials of misrepresenting offers and only partially implementing past agreements. ASU warning and stalled negotiation raised a serious concern for Nigerian educational system. If the talk fails, lecturers resume their strike, millions of students can be put out of school. Very correct. We've been having this issue of strike, not just on the educational sector, but we've seen it from the medical sector and every other sector.
Various
But
sectors.
on the educational sector, it's well, I say it tells a lot because it doesn't just affect schools
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
We know that the schools are not just the building, but the students who actually go to those schools. The school comprises of those students. And if the students are to go to school and actually learn well, ASU is coming out to say we need proper infrastructure. We need technology appliances to be in these schools, to be able to teach our students. If we're looking at them as the future, we must treat them like the future and must treat them important if the future is important. That's what ASU is trying to say. And truly, we can see from their point of view. But this issue of strike, we always ask this question, must we get to that point where we have to strike before the federal government answer and must strike be a reply to every issue that comes on board?
Yeah, so this happens where their demand is actually not met. It happens where they are requesting for things and they are not seeing it.
Yeah.
And teachers cannot teach with emptiness. Like, they cannot teach without tools. Just like you trying to give illustration of some things, you need something to tell somebody this is how you go about it and go about things. So teachers actually complain. Sometimes it's even their pay.
Yeah.
It's even their pay.
A lot
So
of-
if we're saying that we, the children, we're tutoring at the future of tomorrow, we have to be very impactful. And in doing that, they need resources to do that. They won't do that with their personal resources. They need resources. That's why it's called a government property. It's called government schools. But these days, you keep hearing, right from when I was in secondary school, we've been going all about the strike thing. We've been doing strike. We even did strike one time like that, 8 months strike, we're at home. Now, these same children, staying at home, keeping them back, make them forget the little things that they've even learned. Now, them coming back is like starting afresh from the beginning. And most teachers now find it very difficult to bring those people up because they were already going and all of a sudden things came and then they had to go back home. So that's the reason why the government have to focus more on education because, yes, they are the leaders of tomorrow.
So it is very important that we
very
invest in
important.
education because, of course, it is the future. It is like investing in the future. On another newspaper front page, the Telegraph newspaper front page, the New Telegraph, pardon me, we see that auto parts, Nigerian top African imports spent 426 billion naira in 6 months. We also see that there's a global Cloudflare outage, disable X, chat GTP, as well as others in page 8 of that newspaper. And if you look at it beneath and beside the picture of our president, we see that in page 4 and 5, Tinubu to attend G20 summit in South Africa, AU-EU meeting in Angola, says Agoni's death, profound loss to media industry. And we also see in page 8, beside Cardoso's picture, that Cardoso, Nigeria's foreign reserve record 7-year high to $46.7 billion. We also see in page 6 that ASU need down to again place members on red alert. And in page 3, 44 reps writes Tinubu wants Nnamdi Kalu released, seek political solution. Now we also see the big headline in page 2 and 5. Mohammed Makinde Wike, supremacy battles put PDP on the edge. Day out to break for poverty, or your governor comes out this way. And Anyawu says that we have expelled Makinde, Bala, Mohammed and Tukuri from there. And we also see that police released tear gas on contending supporters, and the attack in PDP threat multi-party democracy, ADC comes out to say. Now we'll be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll be diving
Only on Idea TV.
Number 12, autonomous drones, ships, and trucks. Autonomous cars often dominate headlines, but the bigger story is how autonomy is spreading across everything. In 2024, China's Pinduoduo completed thousands of deliveries using autonomous drones. In Europe, the Norwegian container ship Yara Birkeland began operating with remote and autonomous navigation, marking the world's first fully electric container ship. Meanwhile, in the U.S., companies like Too Simple and Aurora are testing self-driving trucks on long-haul routes, with some operating over 1 million miles in pilot runs. By 2026, it won't just be cars. Entire logistics chains will be running with minimal human intervention. Number 6. 6G networks and beyond. 5G is still rolling out worldwide, but work on 6G is already in motion. South Korea, Japan, and Finland are leading trials, with commercial deployment expected around 2030. 6G aims to use terahertz frequencies to deliver speeds up to 100 times faster than 5G and latency as low as 100 microseconds. That's fast enough to support real-time holograms, autonomous fleets, and massive IoT ecosystems. The ITU has begun setting 6G standards, while companies like Nokia and Samsung are actively developing hardware. By 2026, early 6G pilots will give us a glimpse of the post-5G world.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is a newspaper review on Nigeria Television. I am Deborah Jacobs. And we'll still be looking into the newspaper front page of the New Telegraph. And we see on that New Telegraph the big headline, Mohammed Makinde Wike, supremacy battles puts PDP on the edge in page 2 and 5. We also see beside the picture of, we see the INEC had rejected request to shift PDP convention, commission attendance, party sources, and we also see BVAS, era of multiple voting, identity fraud over INEC comes out to say page 2 and 7 of that newspaper. And page 4, Trump welcomes Saudi Crown Prince to White House. UN Security Council backs President Gaza's plan. And we also see a picture of the police men in front of the People Democratic Party national headquarters at Wada House, Abuja, yesterday. And beneath it, we also see KB schoolgirls high kidnap success on alert failure to act intelligence in page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 27 of that newspaper. KB Governor Frame set up special probes panel, assures parent, and Senate calls for the immediate rescue of these victims, as well as Mrs. Tinubu. UNICEF condemns the attack of this particular state. We also see beside it, Khan agrees with Trump on targeted killings in Nigeria, welcomes the international intervention of the US in page 4. And on the green icon, we see that regularly listening to music lowers dementia risk. Studies come out to say in page 30 of that particular newspaper. Now moving into one of the headlines, we see that 44 members of the House of Representatives have written a formal letter to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu seeking for him to order the release of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. The lawmakers who come from different political parties and regions said President should direct the Attorney General to stop Kanu's prosecution and instead begin a political dialogue. This request comes as Kanu's trial before the Justice Jane Omotosho has already ended, with judgment expected tomorrow. The legislature argued the releasing of Kalu would help promote national unity and reduce raising insecurity in the southeast of the country and support the ongoing efforts of the peace that we hope to see in Nigeria. They also pointed previous court and tribunal rulings that favored Kanu and noted the past governments have used political solutions in dwelling with other militants or agitating group. We hope to see the end of this particular story. Now,
on the Punch newspaper, we also have Tinubu gets DSS cleared ambassadorial list. That's Tinubu gets DSS cleared ambassadorial list. That's on page 5. I also have on the big story this morning on the Punch, it says Saviors Relieve Night of Horror. That's on page 2 of the big story. I also have pension fund surges to 26 trillion naira. That's on page 19 of the Punch newspaper this morning. I also have missing FRSC officer, daughter feared killed by Ocean herbalist. That's on page, that's actually a very big story on that. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper this morning. I also have reps prop foreign interest in Edo Museum. That's on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. Now, going back to this missing FRSC officer daughter that was killed by Ocean herbalist on page 4 and 5 is actually an interesting story to be looked at. Really, it's actually an interesting one to be looked at.
You know, I really do not want to, let's say, tag a person or a list to how the killings happen in Nigeria. It is very important to take up this issue of killing of the citizens in Nigeria. It has to reduce, especially when it can be prevented. We keep saying it. If cases like this can be prevented, why don't we prevent them, improve security? So this just shows us that beyond bandits, a lot of other things happen underneath. And when we hear these numbers, we hear only one person. We tend not to respond. I'm not even talking about the government. People themselves, they just see this kind of headlines and they scroll past. It's until we start hearing numbers like 260, 450, and 50, even 50 people self. It's hard
Very
for you to see.
alarming numbers.
But as far as a person is lost to a means that can be put to end, it is something that should be taken with, will I say, seriousness. Every citizen counts. If one misses, the citizens in Nigeria are not complete. They reduce, and we actually really need to curb this issue.
Exactly. With what is happening, I think I would say from my own end that we actually need help. Because each day that passes, you keep hearing scary news. Scary things keep coming up. In fact, walking on the way these days, you just keep looking at your back to know that everything is okay, because it's actually scary that you get a person, you kill the person with that. Ah, God, I don't even know how to put this. So let's go to the next.
But this also points that Nigeria has to stay safe.
Yeah,
we're
sure,
coming
sure,
into
sure.
The end of the year, an era where
Where
they
a lot
say,
of things happen.
where a lot of
Where a
things
lot of
happen,
things
and
happen.
we just need to put ourselves under, will I say, proper supervision, and be conscious of where we go and how we behave wherever we go, and make sure that we are always conscious of our security personally.
Exactly.
And not just waiting for the government. You're
And
always
not just waiting for the government. You also, you have the responsibility
to take care of
actually,
yourself. Of
you
course.
have the personal responsibility to do that.
On another newspaper front page, you see that Nigeria, 19 countries at high risk of debt distress. IMF comes out to say in page 19 of that newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper front page. We also see that Afe Babalola to NUC clamp down on illegal varsities in page 10. We also see that the BVAS ended voters impersonation by network gap persists. INEC chairman has come out to say in page 9. And in that same page now, we see that Khan insists that there is Christian genocide in Nigeria. And the big headline, PDP leadership tussle. Wicked governor clashes as police fire tear gas in page 8. We also see beneath the picture of the deputy governor of Ogun State as well as other people, we see that there's a headline saying that Shetima heads to Kebbi as Tinubu vows rescue of kidnapped students and condemns the killing of the Gen UBA, and how the husband was killed by bandits, as well as the vice principal's wife come out to see state her claim of how her husband was actually killed by these bandits in page 5 of that newspaper. Our condolences to the family. We also see in page 8 that Rep 6 lower eligibility age for governor senators to 30 years in page 8. And in page 19, Nigerian external reserve raises to $46 billion high in 7 years. And APCON telegraphs 3 new players to Super Eagles. See 3 after World Cup qualifiers in page 29 of that particular newspaper front page. Canning, we see that BVS ended voters impersonation by network gaps persist. Now, this particular news. Well, I say headline has been coming up on others in other newspapers, and I like the way is it Punch or which particular newspaper puts this news. The end of voters impersonation has come to an end with the use
Very
of
important.
technology.
Very important.
Is the fact that we know that technology can solve a lot of the problems that are happening, especially with the issue of transparency
Of course.
and accountability to the numbers that are counted for who and who did not vote, and how many people voted for which particular person. We pray that this particular policy actually works in the year 2027 because
Of course.
we've seen this happen before. We've used it,
Yeah,
and we
we
had
have.
so many issues. Are we now ready to use it again without facing those issues that we faced in the last election that happened?
We just pray we don't even encounter that anymore, because that was actually very disturbing. And to even think that you go out with your vote and at the end of the day it didn't actually count, you will not be asking yourself, what's the stress for?
What's the use
What's the use
of going
What's the
out?
use going out to vote and at the end of the day it doesn't really count? So I just believe that this particular way they want to go about it should actually stand and work for us, because we are so going to love it in this country. Let's for once beat our chest and say we have actually stood for something and it happened exactly the way it should be. Because sometimes you come out for something, at the end of the day you get some people that would actually fall in and disrupt the whole process, and we come out crying
Votes are
and
lost because of that particular
yeah,
thing.
we come out
Especially when
crying
it's
and
papered.
very
Lose.
disturbed. So if there's any other means like they just mentioned here and it is going to work for us, we should stand by it firmly and actually go for it and beat our chest at the end of the day to say yes, we voted and we got our vote counted for. Yeah.
Okay, the last newspaper.
Okay, the last newspaper on the Guardian newspaper, we see here, we say Biafra lobby network fueling Christian genocide campaign in the US. That's a big one. That's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. We also see internet users suffer global disruption glitches. That's on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. And we also see that ASO rejects FG's proposed salary increment. That's a big one. That's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. So with all the story on the Guardian newspaper, can you take on the page 3 for me on the Guardian newspaper?
That particular page.
Yeah.
Biafra Lobbies Network. Fueling Christian genocide campaign in US. I really do not want to too much dwell on this issue of the genocide, because we've been having issues about
Exactly.
this statement.
Exactly.
After it was made, I think beginning of last month, this month, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Beginning of this month, when the US president came out to make that particular statement on so many social media platforms.
Okay.
And we saw the disruption it caused. But we
A
always
lot.
keep saying it, that we know that it's not only Christians that are being killed.
Yeah.
Also Muslims are
Sure,
killed.
sure.
It just happens to be that most of the states that they attack, or these bandits attacks, are states that, let's say, occupy a lot of Christians than Muslims. But that doesn't mean they go, and how do they even know it's written? Because there are so many Muslims that do not.
Yeah.
What if, imagine a situation where you see a Muslim and a Christian tying scarf. How
Yeah,
do you know
sure,
which is
sure.
which?
One thing they should understand, how can you even differentiate, or how will you even say that among those bandits there are no Christians?
So let's just say
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Christians and Muslims are being killed, but we want to see the situation of killing stop in Nigeria.
Exactly,
Generally, not just
exactly.
towards the Christians. We do not want the Christians to be safe and the Muslims not to be safe.
Of course
we want
not.
everybody to be safe
Because
in this
we
country.
all are humans.
Yes.
At the end of the day, what we're fighting for is peace and unity.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now we're diving into our tech news. It's a beautiful one. We see that the new report from KPMG shows that African business leaders are planning to spend more on artificial intelligence in the coming year. About 26% of them says they will put more than 20 of their investment budget into AI, and almost double of the global average. Many CEOs in the southern, eastern, and western parts of Africa also rank AI as one of their top priorities right after cybersecurity. Pardon me. The report says that most of African leaders believe training their workers in AI is key to the future success, and they are feeling more confident about their companies and their country economic growth if they invest in AI. Many also plan to hire more staffs and are looking at buying or partnering with other businesses. The growing interest in AI and digital skills is likely to help African countries modernization in economic and becomes more competitive globally. And the investment in technology can create new jobs, improve business efficiency, as well as attract international partners. The raising confidence among CEOs suggests that the business are preparing for growth and to lead a stronger national economics in the future. Now, we always say this. We know that AI is the future. And I like the fact that we as Africans, African leaders have accepted that saying, and they've come to terms that yes, AI is the future and we must invest in it. Investing in the future is very important,
Very
even before
important.
getting into the future.
Yeah.
I've been saying it, I think I keep saying it both on this newspaper review and on the Idea Morning Digest. We need to come into a point where we hear these big companies developing a lot of things or producing a lot of gadgets that can help solve a lot of problems that are happening not just in their country but worldwide. We want to see African countries being top on that chart, where we see that Ghana, Nigeria, or Uganda, they created a particular gadget or a web design, and you just see that it's solving a lot of issues, not just in Africa. I keep saying it, we are not doing it for ourselves. If we must step into the future, we must look at not just solving problems internally but able to solve problems externally also and globally, to be able to stand on international platforms and be recognized. I really do not want to tie it down to the issue of the general, but let's move from that. What do you have to say?
Exactly. So I'll just kindly listening to you. You actually have spoken well exactly what you just said. Sometimes people just feel I want to do this for myself, for my family, but we're not talking about that. It's actually a broad something that will benefit all of us. We Nigerians, we are smart. We're intelligent, we're zealous. If we put in more focus and and more effort, we're going to achieve it. Now, like you said, that the AI is actually the future and we should invest in it. Yes, we should invest in it because right now it has made a lot of things easy for a lot of us, especially when you are technologically inclined. Do you understand?
Yes.
When now we have chat GBT where you can actually get in something, you don't need to stress your brain like that anymore. You just ask anything and you get a quick answer, and that should tell you that we should invest in other things. We can invest more in it and get powerful results, and then Africa will be looked like wow, we have amazing Nigerians.
Yeah, so many countries have moved past the software development,
Of course.
but into the hardware development of this use of AI. Now, another question or question that needs to be asked is: are we ready as Africans?
Exactly.
As Africans, are we ready? Do we have the whole capacity and infrastructure to actually harbor, or will I say build in or get ready for the future of AI when we're looking at the future? But we'll not answer that question. We'll leave the question to all our viewers out there to actually answer that. And we'll be diving into another tech news where we see that MTN Cameroon has announced a strong performance for the first 9 months of 2025, with revenue rising by 24.4% compared to last year. The company earned 9.87 billion rand, boosted by strong market leadership and better control of costs. If profit margins also improved to 44.2% in a region where results were mixed. With MTN Ghana growing strongly, Cote d'Ivoire rising slightly, and Benin declining, MTN Cameroon stood out for its steady progress. The company now has 12.77 million subscribers and continues to grow despite tough competitions and aggressive market promotion. It's just good to see that there's this competition that is happening in the market for better network and better technological appliances. It's good to see that we are having the competition for a good reason.
Exactly.
And not for the bad
And
reasons,
any
of
business
course.
that do not have competitiveness in it, it doesn't go faster.
Of course, of course.
You have to be in a place where you need to compete, because that competition brings a lot of zealousness in you and makes you want to put more effort to rebrand, to make your goods more authentic, to make it more attractive for people to, you understand? So, yeah, I think that competition is very important and highly valued.
So like she said, competition is important to make business grow. Now we've come to the end of our newspaper review, but before we draw the curtain, we urge you to follow us on all our social media platforms, as well as drop your comments on the comment section. We want to hear from you, we want to hear what you have to say about every news and headlines that has been discussed on the newspaper review for On Idea TV. I am Deborah Jacobs, and with me was
John Mary.
Do stay tuned, because more innovative programs will be coming after now. Like I would always say, stay informed, stay safe. Bye for now.